Fucking same old shit. Fucking sorry ass Dolphins, man. Oh my god. It's so bad. Here we are. 3-3. Started 3-0. And I think like we're praying to be a wild card team at this point. And it's I'm hurt. I'm sorry. I'm really at a loss for words. I'm just hurt. I really am. And it pisses me off because look, I know we're injured, right? I know the Dolphins are injured. But that's not why we're losing these games. If we were fully healthy, do I believe that we win these games? Yes. But even with our guys not playing, we are in these games in the fourth quarter with opportunities to win, and we are fucking blowing them. 3 weeks in a row. 3 damn weeks in a row. This team has had an opportunity in the fourth quarter to take the lead, and they blow it. Cincinnati, 3 minutes left. Teddy throws a pick. Jets, we had an opportunity to go up by a field goal. Now, that game, we might have lost regardless. Bengals game, 3 minutes. Same exact shit. Well, I said Bengals game. This game against the Vikings, 3 minutes. 3 freaking minutes. Waddle, 3rd and 15, catches the ball, takes it up, fumble. Unbelievable, man. The defense played their ass off. What a waste. What a waste. Everyone's like, oh, where's the defense at? They're going to get cooked by Jefferson and Dolphin. No, that was not the case. The Minnesota Vikings had 90 yards on 10 drives, and we lost the football game. Utter embarrassment. It's ridiculous, dude. Like, I know we're banged up, but that's not why we're losing the games. It's not at all. And like, I don't want to hear that excuse at all because we've been in a position to win these games and we're not executing. We are not executing. And it's the exact opposite from the first 3 weeks. Dolphins go out there, make plays. Fourth quarter comes. You know what we're going to do? We're going to show up. This team now, right now, it's the complete opposite. It's a complete opposite. And look, I'll give our team a little bit of slack just because quarterback is the most important position in the entire league. And for us to have 3 straight games of our starting quarterback not even making it past halftime, it's insane. And then you take out an all-pro left tackle in Terron Armstead, and you take out Xavier Howard, and you take out all these guys. Yes, the job's harder, but for the 100th time, that's not why we're losing. Stop blaming these losses on injury because in the fourth quarter, when we have an opportunity to go up and win, this team doesn't step up to the plate, man, and it's aggravating. Like it's very fucking aggravating.
I mean, dude, I think all Dolphins fans, I think all 3 of us can speak for it. It's just depressing, man. It's depressing to turn out that performance and lose a football game. Smoke already said it. The defense did everything. Outside of a turnover, they didn't get a turnover, but outside of that, they did everything. We needed them. We've been calling out their tackling all year. The tackling was so much better. We started the game with
phenomenal.
Started the game with 4 straight 3-and-outs on defense. We started the second half with 3 straight 3-and-outs on defense. 10 total in the game. 10 times our defense took the field, limited them to 3 plays, and then got the ball back immediately. And what do we have to show for it? A fat-ass L. We doubled up their yards. We doubled them up offensive yards. We had more time of possession. We had double the first downs. We had everything. And I get the injuries, man. People want to point the injuries, but Smoke is 1,000% right. The injuries aren't the reason we're losing these football games. It's execution. It's penalties. It's offensive line play. There's so much that's so bad with this team, and it's the reason it's holding us back from going from 3-0 AFC East. Could we win that? Could we go to the Super Bowl? I'm not even worried about the playoffs right now. I'm worried about going to beat the Steelers. One of these layup games that everyone on their calendar circled as a W. Now it's like, are we even going to go beat the Pittsburgh Steelers? I got no idea, man. we got a lot to get into, and we'll get through it all, but it's just a depressing Monday. It really is a depressing Monday, and it's the life of a Fins fan, man. No one knows it better than us, and it's just here to slap us in the face fucking again.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. I think we've all kind of sat and watched, and I'm just going to repeat some stuff because I really want to ingrain it into some people's heads. Injuries did not cost us this game at all. Like Smoke said, if we don't have these injuries, do I believe we win? Sure. That's not what fucking happened. That's not real life. That's literally not real life. That's not what happened. People say, oh, we'd be 6-0 if we're healthy. That's not what happened. And you're going to face adversity, all this type of stuff. We lost because of things directly in our control, which is the worst way to lose. We could have won this game so easily, and we lost. And we're 3-3. We're worse than the fucking Jets, and we're in a horrible place because we had a chance to go out and win this game. We had a chance to go out and win this game and be 4-2. And then have Tua come back, have Toronto Armstead come back, have Austin Jackson come back, and go on a streak. We have 3 games ahead of us, which are now must win. We start off 3-0. We're in week 6, and we have must-win games already. You know how ridiculous that is? You know how ridiculous that is? To start 3-0 and do this to ourselves? Again, we're going to say injuries this, injuries that. I'm with you. We've had to go through some adversity. We've had to deal with some stuff. The last 3 games, we've had a different starting quarterback start the game than end the game. Tua in the Bengals game, Teddy ended that one. Then we want to go with Teddy against the Jets. Skyler ended that one. And then in this game, we want to go with Skyler, and Teddy ended it. And listen, it's a tough spot to be in for Mike McDaniel. It's a tough spot for the team to be in. But it doesn't matter because that's not why we lost. And we're going to get into that for the rest of the show. We lost because of penalties and costly turnovers. That is the reason we lost this game. And that falls on the players and that falls on coaching. That is why we lost.
Shout out,
Patrick.
That is why we lost. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Tua would have been knocked out yesterday. This team is losing because of poor roster construction for 4 years by the front office. And then everyone bought the copium for the first time, head coach and big free agent signing. I kind of disagree. I genuinely believe this is the best roster that we've had. It's just our depth is getting manhandled by injury. And look, like we call Tua fragile, right? Well, some people don't. I think he's very injury prone. Skyler got hurt, done for the game. Last week it was Teddy. Like we have 3 quarterbacks that haven't been able to finish a game. Like it's not even just Tua. Like this whole team's made out of glass. Nick Needham, done for the season. Noah Igbenogany was not even active the first, 2 weeks. He is now our starting cornerback. What are we supposed to do? And like, I know that 2020 draft was an airball, but like Chris Greer's hit on some draft picks. Like Javon Holland, great pick. Jalen Phillips, starting to come along this year. He was great last year. Jalen Waddle, great pick. Xavier Howard, top 10 corner in the league. I don't think it's the roster construction. It's just not executing. Like if we win one of those games, we're 4-2 and we're smiling ear to ear, like straight up. And I don't think it's because of the roster. What do you think, Bobby?
I mean, he's got a point. I think a lot of successful teams can build their team through the trenches, which we really didn't do necessarily. I mean, but by the same token, we have been drafting and trying to bring in guys, and it hasn't worked. I don't know. It's a tough fucking situation. It's week 6. I mean, we're in the middle of the season. Roster construction, that's more of a off-season type of deal. Like, we're not going to somehow fix this roster or plug someone in that's just going to come in and do the thing. It's not Madden. You can't just go out and make 7 trades in the middle of the season. That just doesn't happen. But I can see it. He's got a point. The offensive line, I would say the offensive line was the absolute worst unit on the field yesterday. I think it's been not good this year at all. When Armstead gets out there, he masks a lot of it because Armstead's a great player. But when you brought Armstead in, you already knew he was going to miss games, and he's already missing games. And then Little, we gave Little so much praise after week 2. We said, this guy's great. He's playing well. He was the worst player on the field yesterday, by my humble opinion. Either him or Eichenberg. That whole left side of the line was atrocious. And honestly, when your line's playing that bad, your quarterbacks are going to get hurt no matter who they are, and it's happened. And I wouldn't even say yesterday poor quarterback play was the issue. I mean, was Teddy spectacular? Definitely not. But was he dog shit terrible? I also don't think so. I think
No,
Teddy,
like I actually have a problem with Teddy Bridgewater. Like I want nothing to
I
do
do
with him.
too.
I never knew he was that unathletic. I mean, he is moving like he's fucking Tom Brady out there. And when the offensive line sucks and he has zero mobility, he is a liability. Skyler is out there. He looked great the first 2 drives. He's keeping plays alive with his legs. He's moving. He's hitting guys on the run. The second that pocket collapsed, I thought Kirk Cousins was our quarterback. Like Teddy is a sitting duck. Like no athleticism whatsoever. The man is a freaking statue, and his body language sucks. The way he presents himself is terrible. Like he does not fire me up. I'm not saying he's why we lost. Like that's not true. But he is not a good quarterback, and he is not
Skyler's better.
the true backup quarterback on this football team. And that is why Mike McDaniel started Skyler over Teddy. And everyone was shitting on me. You were shitting on me. Krug was shitting on me. And I'm not taking a victory lap because I'm fucking depressed. But I got a text from Krug. You said, bro, I'm sorry. You were right. Like, Skyler's much more talented than Teddy. And he is.
I gotta
He
say that too,
100% is.
because I was with Bobby. I was with Bobby saying like Teddy experienced all this stuff. I was with you, Bobby. I was with you. I think we were on the same page. I'll be honest, that game showed me all I needed to see. Skyler is quarterback 2 now. I was so with you. Experience wins, like he has all this stuff. That was terrible to see, and that did kind of nail it in the coffin, at least for me. So I've switched, like with new context, with new information being brought out. I've switched this Skyler Thompson is quarterback 2. There's no reason where if Tua's not playing or if Tua gets hurt, that Skyler should not be the first man up. There's no reason, at least in my opinion, for this specific scheme and with this specific coach. Skyler's the guy.
I mean, I agree as well. I think Skyler is quarterback 2. I think that I would have absolutely loved to see that game play out and to see him to continue to get reps. 100% his legs are a big factor of why he's better in this offense than Teddy. I mean, you saw him scramble for that first down out to the left. He looked good. There was zip on the ball. Like I said, I think we all agree we would have loved to see Skyler finish that game and see what would have happened.
Yep.
But by the same token, I mean, I don't think Teddy was that bad. I thought he was like, if that's what you can know your backup quarterback is going to do when they get into the game, I'm totally comfortable with that because that's what he is, a backup quarterback. I never was sitting here expecting for him to go off and be the reason we won games. I just always wanted him to be the reason why we weren't going to lose a game when he had to go in. I thought he did enough to show that to me. But by the same token, I thought Skyler did more. I thought Skyler looked great. And it's just another season. I'd like to know. I think in the history of the NFL, there has never been a team to start 3 games in a row with 3 different starting quarterbacks, and neither of them make it to the second half due to injury. It's actually crazy to me, man. It's crazy.
Legend says, how can you say injuries aren't the reason? When Needham was in the game, we were able to run tight man. They had three 3-and-outs twice. When Needham went out, they had their first successful drive. That has nothing to do with us having an opportunity to go up in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left and fumbling the football. Like there's no correlation between that. It's, again, the Miami Dolphins for the 3rd week in a row, regardless of who was and was not on the field, had an opportunity to take the lead in the fourth quarter, and they blew it. That has nothing to do with injury. Zero. Because we win the game, right? If Waddle holds onto the football and he finds Tyreek Hill or someone in the back of the end zone and the Finns win, no one's talking about injuries. Me and you aren't going to be oh man, we won, but all these injuries, blah, 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 blah. No, dude, you won the game. But now that you lost, you're looking for everything. I don't think the season's over unless we lose to Pittsburgh. If we lose to Pittsburgh, I would probably throw in the towel, or I would be extremely depressed. The season's not over. This team just needs to get healthy. I believe this team needs to get healthy, but that's not why we're losing these games. If we were getting blown out by 35 or double digits every single week, it's okay, clearly we need the starters. I mean, obviously every team is better when they have their starters out there, but again, we find ourselves in a situation where we could win the game even without them on the field, and we're not doing it. That's my problem. But this team needs to get healthy, and when they are healthy, they're scary. But, I mean, it's more of an execution thing for me. No, we're there, bro.
100% Smoke. You said it perfect because, are we sitting here saying injuries aren't the reason we lost the game. I agree. But by the same token, it's not like we're saying if we didn't have Terran Armstead and some of these guys in, it wouldn't have been a much easier, simpler, better looking execution. But we had the guys we had. That's the NFL. That's what happens. You play who's on the field. And our guys out on the field were good enough to win that football game. And point blank, they didn't. And there's a lot of reasons why. And we're going to get to it. But the guys we had on the field were good enough to win that football game. It comes down to execution, and the execution wasn't there. So that's what we mean when we say injuries wasn't the reason we lost that game. The point blank, because it was there. It was there for the taking, man. It was absolutely there for the taking. And you know what they didn't do? They didn't go out and fucking take it. And now we're sitting here with a depressed, miserable fucking L of a show on a Monday. It's just not what you want to see, man.
That comment talked about Nick Needham. Our defense was fantastic. Our defense played absurd. That had nothing to do with our defense. It was the offense and the coaching and the penalties and the turnovers. Gosh, we'll get to that. But literally, injuries played, like, I don't want to say zero factor, but again, if you look at it,
like they played a factor in why the offensive line was the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
But even with the biggest piece of dog shit offensive line I've ever seen in my life, they still had a chance to win the game. Get that through your head. Like, Waddle fumbling the freaking ball has nothing to do with injuries.
Nope.
Teddy Bridgewater throwing that interception had nothing to do with injuries. It's all about not
Waddle
executing.
Making an interception after a drop. Like,
Dog.
I mean, where do we want to start? Where do we want to go?
Let's start with Waddle because we're on it. Let's start with Waddle. We're on it, or do you want to go McDaniel? We can go either way.
Start with Waddle. We're there.
All right. No, so he has the fumble, which people want to say, oh, that happens. No. He fumbled the ball. That is on him. Listen, we all love Jalen Waddle. I don't think any of us hate Jalen Waddle now. But you have to take accountability. He also dropped a pass, which became an interception. That is on Jalen Waddle. That was a good ball from Teddy Bridgewater. It hit him in the hands. You have to catch that ball 100 times out of 100 times. That is the description of your job. That's literally your job description as a wide receiver. You catch the ball. And he dropped it, and that made it an interception, which lost us the game. Jalen Waddle cost us that game. I still think he's a top 10 receiver. I still think he's great. But you have to allow this guy to take accountability, which, by the way, is the only way he'll get better.
Right.
It's the only way he'll get better, too.
Thing with Waddle. So there's a lot of people like, you can't blame the loss on Waddle. The two most important stats in football, penalties, turnovers. We lost a turnover battle 3-0. 2 of those turnovers fell on Jalen Waddle. And to be honest with you, turnovers is the most important stat on the stat sheet. And we have to call a spade a spade. 2 out of the 3 turnovers fell on Jalen Waddle. And that is how you change the outcome of a football game.
100%, dude. I mean, I don't sit here and say the reason the Miami Dolphins lost that game was because of Jalen Waddle. That's not my stance. That's not how I feel. But Jalen Waddle did end the game pretty much. When Jalen Waddle fumbles that ball, the game's over.
Like the thing with Skyler last week with the Jets. The fumble against the Jets, like, it put the game away.
Yeah, exactly.
It put the freaking game away. And that's what happened this week again.
Yep, and you got
it, bro.
You got to hold people accountable, man. If that was Igbenogany that had a bad play that cost,
everyone be dragging,
everyone be ripping his head off. But because it's Waddle, everyone wants to give him a pass and say he's this great guy. I agree. I love Waddle. No one wants to see Waddle play better than me. He's probably my favorite player on this team. But when you go out and do something like that, man, you got to talk about it because it's unacceptable. You can't fumble the ball in general. You can't fumble the goddamn ball in the NFL. But when you do it in a clutch, important leverage situation, it just amplifies it and magnifies it that much more. It's unacceptable. And Jay was just talking about it. At the end of the first half, the ball hit him in the freaking chest, and it ends up in a freak interception, and all of a sudden it's a free 3 points for them. Those points in the NFL matter so much, and it's the finest of margins to win football games. And when you're doing stuff like that, you're just putting yourself behind the 8 ball, dude. It sucks so much. And to just go further on the turnovers, that 1/3 interception or the other interception Teddy threw was downright inexcusable. That was a terrible throw. And I defend Teddy at times on this show, but that was bad. And Jalen, it's just all around, man. The turnovers, it's inexcusable. That's how you lose football games. You can go out and outgain a team by double their yards. You can go out and have the ball more than them. You can get more first downs than them. Doesn't matter when you can't put the ball in the end zone and you turn it over. So it's inexcusable, and Waddle has to be feeling it today.
Before we get to
Here's my thing.
McDaniel, because I know that's where we're going to next. I just want to say, based another thing with the turnovers, and this will lead back to it. Javon Holland almost muffed a punt, which led to a fumble, which leads me to special teams.
I jinxed him.
No, which leads me to special teams. The special teams has been horrible. Other than like Justin Bethel on the punts, the special teams has been horrible. I don't know where Jason Sanders went. I don't know what happened to him since that contract extension. He's been bad. And the special teams needs to be a lot better because field position matters so much. And the special teams has been horrible this year. Just horrible. So that's another thing that falls under coaching and also the players playing. So they got to increase that as well, because there was a bad punt from Morstead where we punted from like, I don't even remember, but we were close and he put it in the end zone. Then there was the Javon Holland muff. Then Jason Sanders, you are an NFL kicker. Make one kick past 50 yards, dude. Make one kick past 50 yards.
It's so bad. He's got the yips. Like he's got the
mile.
yips. He's got the yips. I want to talk about McDaniel though.
Yep.
Here's my thing. I think he called a great game. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I thought he called a great game. I think he's the best play caller the Miami Dolphins have ever had. This is the best offense I've ever seen the Dolphins have. I mean, we are plugging in Teddy, Skyler, and they're throwing for over 300 yards. Tyreek Hill has 700 yards in 6 games. Jalen Waddle's top 5 in yards. I mean, we just can't score touchdowns, and it makes no sense to me. We can't score touchdowns, and it's the penalties. I know what Flores was, but we were the most disciplined football team in the NFL. This is the 3rd week in a row. 3rd week where the team has came out and we're just getting flagged. We had 5 penalties on the second drive of the game, 2 drops on the same drive. Unbelievable. And you got to hold your head coach accountable. You have to. I still believe like that 4th and 5 play call, his nuts are huge. We got that, and like it gave us an opportunity to win. I don't know if he's the one that called that the fake punt. I don't know if the special teams coordinator calls that.
He's the head coach. He's got to okay it. He's got to okay it.
I don't know. I didn't like that, but I mean, at the end of the day, if it worked, to be like, oh, what a great call. McDaniel's got a fat sack, blah, blah, blah. It's really just the penalties for me. It's really the penalties for me, and it's the 3rd week in a row where we are killing ourselves. It is a sin that Skylar Thompson and the Miami Dolphins did not score on that second drive. It's a sin we didn't get points on the first drive. But that second drive, even when it was 1st and 25, we're lining up in shotgun and we're airing that thing out. And we're getting all the yards back. We had 2 plays that resulted in us being within 10 yards of the end zone, get called back. It got to the point where it was 1st and 30. We went from 1st and goal at the 3-yard line to 1st and 30 at the 45.
We didn't even get a field goal.
Unbelievable.
We didn't even get a field goal.
We punted.
We didn't score. We didn't score points. Their defense had 10 3-and-outs. We had 16 points the whole game. Unbelievable, man.
And bro, I mean, I put the tweet out yesterday and it got a lot of blowback. I said, I hate to say it, but McDaniel fraud, ? Is all I asked the question. And I think a big reason I was feeling that way is because how high we and myself personally was on McDaniel. I thought that we could show up. McDaniel was this great coach. He's going to put us in the right positions to win. But look at this, folks. 0 opening drive touchdowns this season. Those are scripted drives. You work on that all week in practice. Okay, we're going to get the ball first. We're going to call this, and this. It's going to work. It's going to be schemed. It's going to be thoughtful. But no, we're not even coming out and scoring early points. We had 4 in a row drives that we started with a 3-and-out defensively. Didn't put up a single point. We had 3 drives to start the second half, 3-and-outs. Didn't put up a single point. That falls back on the coaching. And then the biggest of all of them, the biggest reason that McDaniels has me frustrated is the lack of discipline. The penalties are unacceptable, man. And I know you can say, oh, well, it's a backup line. No, dude. Penalties are a direct reflection of your head coach. Discipline, discipline. And we don't have any of it. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, man. Because when you go out there and you have all these yards and do all these good things, but then you can't put the ball in the end zone because of these penalties, what do you got to show for it? Zilch, zip, nada. When you have a 60-yard drive and you get down there and you don't score, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And right now, that's where we're at with this Dolphins. So when I ask if he's a fraud, I think there's some merit to it because after the third week, we thought this guy was the freaking next Lombardi. We thought he was the best coach in the league, the best young play caller. Everyone's bought in. Everyone loves him. Oh, adversity creates opportunity. What opportunity, man? It's 3 losses in a row when all the adversity in the world was thrown your way. It's just at some point you have to start asking the questions. You have to start pointing the finger. You have to start accepting blame. And McDaniel has to shoulder some of that for me right now. Am I counting him out and saying he's a terrible coach? No. I still think he has more than enough time to sit here and try and prove what McDaniel actually is. But right now, it's just you got to take a step back. Our heads were out over our skis a little bit, crowning this guy. Now he's got to prove it to us that he is this great coach that we thought he was.
10 penalties for 97 yards is terrible. Terrible.
Shout out base Jin, Jiren, whatever the hell your name is. I've been ignoring you the whole time, but when you super chat me, I got to read it. Been smoking on that Dolphins pack for 24 hours, and inquiring minds want to know, Nikki, did you enjoy that drive home? Yeah, I sat in the back seat and got absolutely hammered listening to Marvin's Room. So thanks for the donation. Yeah, man, it's just, I think you're right, Bobby. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, it's discipline. Like, you can't have double-digit penalties back-to-back weeks and not hold your head coach accountable for that.
Absolutely, dude.
Like, I'm sorry. You have to. And look, hear me out. So, again, is this team affected by the injuries? Of course. Of course. But I want to make it crystal clear that that's not why we've lost the last 3 games. It's not. We had an opportunity to win every single game. But when you don't have your starting quarterback, starting left tackle, starting corner, those are like the 3 most important positions in football, and the only one I'm missing is a pass rusher. Those are the 4 most important positions in football, and we've had 3 of them missing for the last 3 games. Again, not an excuse, but if you have those guys, do you win that game? Probably. But regardless, even with those guys out, this team has an opportunity to win every week. And I do want to look at that as a positive. Like, I'm very depressed. You're depressed. We should all be depressed. This team starts 3-0. They give us all the hope in the world. And now we went from thinking we're going to be division champs to maybe a wild card team. But the little silver lining that I see in this team is that, hey, man, imagine if the Bills, I mean, they got pretty banged up bad. I'm not going to lie in their secondary. But if they didn't have Josh Allen, they didn't have a stud left tackle out, how many games would they win? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough. It's tough.
While I agree,
the fact that we're in these games, though, even with everyone not being able to play, I somewhat think that's a good thing. Because I feel like a lot of teams would get manhandled in our situation. And we've had an opportunity to win the last 3 games.
I have a list of notes of stuff that are takeaways that are good from that game. I mean, as bad as it was, there was some silver linings. There is some good stuff to be found. Does it feel good about talking about the good stuff right now after that loss? Definitely not. There is some good takeaways, and we could get into that at some point. But I have to pull this comment up that I just saw because I love what I just read right here. We haven't seen the McDaniels presser yet because we're obviously doing this. But hearing that X called the offense up to produce points, damn
Shut
right.
up.
That's what Xavier Howard deserves to do. That's leadership, and that's captaincy right there. Because his defense went out there and balled, and he's playing through groin injuries, doing what he can to get his ass on the field, and they went out there and did their damn job. So he has every right in the world to call that offense out for not producing points. That fired me up a little bit when I read it, so I'm glad you put that in the chat, Patrick Mullen, and I can't wait to go back and listen to that because that's what that team needs. Someone needs to step into that offensive room and say, guys, we did everything we fucking could for you this week, and you could produce 16 points on this team? It's unacceptable. So I had to put that up. That fires me up a little bit. I mean, you got to go get the results now. It's one thing just to say, hey, guys, I want to see some actual impact from this. So I had to pull that up. Good on X. X has the authority, and he has the right to go tell the team that. So I'm glad that happened.
No, I agree. And, like, That's going to happen. I love Xavier Howard. He's actually my favorite player on the Miami Dolphins. I love that he did that. I think it's fantastic that he's stepping in because the offense failed the defense. They literally failed them because that
Yes.
was an absurd performance. Absurd.
Insane.
Xavier, obviously it fell off in the second half. Maybe the groins were acting up. Shout out to Kevin O'Connell. He designs the plays against man coverage, rub routes and stuff to get Xavier Howard off of Jefferson. But in the first half, X was clamping.
X was
When
the
they
whole
scored
game, bro.
that second touchdown, Xavier Howard is clamping Justin Jefferson by himself on one side, and then there's 4 defenders in coverage who can't guard Irv Smith. Again, not blaming the defense. I'm just speaking on X's side, from X's side of things. He did everything he could because he was fantastic.
They
in
had
that game.
90 yards through 10 fucking drives, dog, and we lost the game. We scored 16 points. It's embarrassing.
It is.
It's embarrassing. Now look, has Tua been great? Sure. Like I'm not gonna take like Tua's been great, but like he's not Josh Allen. It's not like this guy's gonna, like he's good. Like Tua's good. He's obviously better than Teddy and Skyler. It's not like he's Josh Allen. I mean, Teddy's out here throwing for 300 yards in this system. We haven't been able to score touchdowns all year. The Patriots game had 1 touchdown. The only time where the offense scored multiple touchdowns was the Ravens game. Look at Buffalo. 20 points. We scored 20 points, maybe 21. But actually, we won 3 for 3 on touchdowns that game. But for the most part, this team cannot score touchdowns. Even 2 in the first half against the Bengals. Chase Edmonds dropping a fucking wide open touchdown.
Yeah.
Hits him in the hand, drops it. This team is not scoring enough. And it makes no sense because you look at the stats and you're just like, how? Like, how is this team not scoring 45 points a game? I got to pull up the box score because I think we had over 400 all-purpose yards.
We had 400. I have it right here. 458.
458 yards and 16 points. Make that make sense to me.
Penalties, literally penalties, which is a reflection of the head coach. It's literally penalties. It's penalties. It's turnovers. That is why we don't put up points.
When they throw a penalty, they take the yards back off the box score. It's not like you get credit for the 50-yard play.
No, for sure.
That's why we don't
Even
get
with
points.
all the penalties, this team put up 458 yards and scored 16 points. Like what? Like what are we supposed to do?
You know what helped? You know what is like another thing that is like part of that? The run game.
Yep.
The run game. That is a huge part of moving the ball, putting the ball in the end zone, the run game, which by the way, McDaniel had that kind of, everyone thought, okay, McDaniel's coming, he's going to bring a run game with him. That was kind of the thought in everyone's head. We brought in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and I think all of us thought in advance of the year, we'll probably be a run-heavy team. We'll probably run the ball a lot. And that's just not what happened. Raheem Mostert and the whole Dolphins rushing offense was on pace for like 130 yards after the first half. And I'm not going to lie, in the second half, it's 10-3 in the third quarter, and he stopped running the ball. I'm sorry I'm getting like mad at that, but that is something that cannot happen. You have to continue to run the ball in that situation. You're down 1 score in the third quarter. It's not the fourth quarter yet, and he just stopped running the ball with a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
it's not even your starting quarterback. It's a backup quarterback, and you have Raheem Mostert right there. Who's
Raheem looked good. I don't want to see Chase Edmonds on the field again.
Thank you. I was going to say the same thing, bro. I was going to say the same thing.
Raheem is a motor. He is a motor.
That's my question. Why did we go away from it?
Not be on the football
Terrible.
Field. Yeah, and Jay just ripped it, man. It's not like we couldn't run the ball because when we ran it, we actually ran it rather decently, man. I mean, nothing crazy, nothing popping off the page, but we were running it at a consistent 4-yard clip with Mostert in there. Edmonds stinks. I couldn't agree more with that. You just don't even see the same energy when he gets the ball. When Mostert gets the ball, he's a plus yard running back. If there's nothing there, he's going to at least get you a yard. If you block it for 3, he'll get you 5. I love what I see from him, but we stopped running it. Point blank. Yep. Raheem Mostert had 14 carries. This isn't the Ravens game where we had to stop running it because we were down 1 million points and we needed to air it out. This was a tight, competitive football game, and we just stopped running it. It doesn't make any sense to me, dude. I can't make sense of that one bit, to be honest with you.
We got 150 people watching live. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. I know we're depressed right now. We usually give you that smoke. We'll be back fired up on Wednesday.
Likes.
But it's therapy. It's therapy Monday. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Please subscribe. We're trying to hit 4,000. Page is growing like crazy, and that is all because of you guys. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, whether you're a Fins fan, an NFL fan, whatever. If you're here, you're showing love. I have so much gratitude towards you, and I'm truly grateful for your time. I want to talk about something, and I don't even think it's controversial. At this point, it's just something that happens every year, and it needs to be addressed. I feel like we're going to find ourselves saying, well, if Tua played this game, we would have won. If Tua played that game, we would have won. And then it's like, it's always those 1 to 2 games where we don't make the playoffs. And it's like, damn, well, if he played this game, if he played that game, we'd be in. And to be honest with you, I'm tired about, like, I'm already sick that I've said that 3 times this year. I've already said that 3 times this year, and we're 6 weeks into the season. And I think long-term, it's a potential problem. And I think if Skylar gets another opportunity and he doesn't have that freak hand injury, possible quarterback controversy. I think Tua's much more – right now, Tua's my clear quarterback 1. You start him, you play him this whole year, but you want to sit here and tell me that you're not sick and tired every single year. You're like, well, hey, man, if Tua played this game, we would have won. And then your team's not getting in the playoffs by a game or 2 every single freaking year. I mean, it has happened every year that we've had him on this football team.
I have a question, though, really quick, because Bobby always talks about, and I think we agree, like, what the answer is at the end of the season. But let's go back to this past offseason. Other than Russell Wilson, the quarterback that got moved is, like, Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz. So it's like
Tom Brady.
No, he was moved 2 off seasons
2 years ago. Yeah.
Like, usually the
Watson.
quarterback market is not there. Do you want Deshaun Watson right now? Because he's missing.
I'm just
more games
saying,
than
no.
Tua.
I mean, like, he's a psycho. But you said quarterbacks getting moved. Like, more and more quarterbacks are being moved recently than they ever have been.
That's fair. But I'm just saying.
And look,
like,
I'm not saying
past,
like it's easy to just go out there and be like, oh, hey, like we could go replace Tua. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm just saying, like, when I draft a quarterback, I mean, I don't draft them. Like, when the Dolphins draft a quarterback, I'm looking at this guy like, hey, he's going to be the face of our franchise for 10 to 15 years. I don't have that sense with Tua. I just don't. And it's not because of the lack of talent. It's the lack of availability. And I'm not saying, like, it would almost be impossible to go out there and find a better starter than Tua for this team right now. Like, good luck trying to replace him right now or even in the offseason. Your only other chance is Lamar Jackson, and odds are Baltimore is going to give him every single penny. So that's probably out the door. So the only way you'd be able to upgrade is if it is Skylar Thompson and there's like a quarterback battle and they duke it out. I'm not saying we could go replace Tua overnight. My thing is, it's like, I just don't see how it's going to last for 10 years. Like, look at Buffalo. Like, we're going to deal with Josh Allen for 12 years. We dealt with Tom Brady for 20 freaking years. Do you genuinely believe that we'll have Tua for 10 to 15 years?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't sit here and have a warm, fuzzy feeling inside that says, well, we found our franchise guy for the next 20 years. So definitely not that. But for me, I mean, obviously Tua being on the field is everything. Having Tua makes our team better. But just right now, it's so much deeper than Tua for me. It's just every year the Dolphins do this to us. They lose these games. They build us up, and then they tear us the fuck down every single year. And yeah, Tua, that would be a lot nicer. But for me, it's just such a deeper problem than Tua. It's a cultural thing. It's if we won this game, if we won that game, we have this week 17 game where we could do it all and get in the playoffs, and you lose that. It's just so much deeper than Tua.
That's a great point. It's like a tradition. Yeah, it's a freaking tradition. Week 17, you win this game, you're in the playoffs, lose, and then you win a pointless week 18 game. And we got a winning season. I'm tired of just having winning seasons, bro. I want to win a fucking playoff game. I'm tired of, bro, please, can the Broncos miss this field goal so the Dolphins can go to the playoffs for the first time so I can fly out to the game and get bullied? I want to win, dude. I'm tired of being a fucking loser. I'm tired of this team taking my fucking heart out and destroying it.
Every year, bro.
Like, it's a sickness. I should go to therapy. I should check into a mental asylum because of how much I give a fuck about this team, man. Like, they actually break my heart. Like, it pisses me off that I care so much. And, it's like, hey man, like, why do you get so fired up? You're
I
not on the
co-sign
team.
that.
I have been here longer than the players on the team, dog. A lot of these guys didn't grow up diehard Dolphins fans. I was born and raised at this fucking game, at the stadium. I've been season tickets since I was 2 years old. I am this team. I buy the merch. I'm at every fucking game. I'm out here promoting, getting involved in our community. In my sick mind, yes, I'm part of this team. And I'm here longer than 95% of the players that have ever put on a Dolphins uniform. I care so much, and it's just every single year they do the same shit to us.
Every year,
3-0. The last time we went 3-0, didn't make the playoffs. And if this talent does that, the talent we have on this team, if they don't make the playoffs, if they don't even win a playoff game, I have a problem.
I'll play devil's advocate though with Tua missing these games. Like it's kind of the same thing with Dak, and I'm just playing devil's advocate. I agree with you. It's kind of the same thing that Dak's going with. I know Lamar's missed games, so obviously Lamar's way more talented. I don't even want to compare the two. The thing for me is, regardless of that, and we just saw it by the way with Skylar yesterday, is the offensive line. We literally just saw it yesterday with a different quarterback. You need, and I've said this on shows before, regardless of who your quarterback is. If it's Tua, if it's Skylar, if it's Lamar, if it's Brady, if it's Josh, I don't care who it is. I don't care who. Make up a name, and he's your quarterback. A man, like I don't care who it is. You have to build an offensive line. It's so important, and it's something that we have lacked. This is the first year, which I have to give credit for. This is the first year we brought in offensive linemen, like actual offensive linemen from free agency, to actually turn this around. But before that, we haven't done it since the unicorn line. You have to build an offensive line. The offensive line has been, but the 20 plus years, we've been nothing but mediocrity because our offensive line has been shit for 20 years. Our running game has been shit for 20 years.
Shit for 20 years too. Everything's been shit. Everything's been shit.
Yep.
Cleo Lemon, Ryan Tannehill, Josh Beck. I mean, you name all the dog shit quarterbacks we've had. You can name all the dog
Jordan,
shit lines we
fucking.
have. At the end of the day, it's the team. It's the team as a whole is just never there. And to be fair, the O-line the first 3 weeks was great. When you have Armstead out there, when you have Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, and AJ out there, it's not a bad offensive line. Liam Eichenberg is the new Jesse Davis. He is officially in Jesse Davis's tier.
Yep.
And they need to accept the fact that he was not worth a second round pick. And they need to stop playing him because
we gave an asset to get him. That's crazy. We gave up an asset to go up, move up in the draft, and take him. Crazy.
He's a liability.
I just lost all respect to this guy. He said Tannehill is not trash. That's actually the funniest thing I've read all day. That's all I needed to hear. Thank you. Go ahead, Bobby.
No, it's just, I mean, you said it. It's a sick disease. Being a fan of a football team, a diehard fan of a football team is a sick fucking disease. It makes no sense in reality, but that's the life that we live, and that's the life we choose to live, and it's the life I would never change it for a second. It's the life I love to live. Every Sunday getting absolutely hyped up beyond belief to go watch your football
100%.
team, and then getting your heart ripped out. Like, it would be so nice to know what winning football feels like, but no, it's the same thing every year with the Dolphins. They build you up. We were really bad back in the day, but as of late, every year there's some sort of hope, there's some sort of buildup, there's some sort of light on the horizon that we're right there to go get, but we never even come close to grabbing it, bro. It's always something, and it's all these excuses, line, quarterback, GM, it's all there, and it just hurts, man. It hurts, and it hurts worse. It would be one thing if we were just bad and we didn't have expectations. But it's another thing when you go out and you beat the Patriots, you beat the Ravens, you beat the Bills, you feel like you really turned a corner and you have something, and you just get dragged back down to earth, to life as a Dolphins fan. It doesn't feel unfamiliar. It's not like, oh, I don't even know how to feel or what to do right now. It's like, oh, this is back where we are. This is reality. I've woken up from that dream that I had for the first 3 weeks, and I'm back in the misery that is the Miami Dolphins. It hurts, dude. It truthfully hurts, and it affects our fucking lives. It sucks.
You know what's crazy though is we really can win the next 5 games. We really can. Like, we could really be 8-3. We can.
You want to get optimistic for the last 15 minutes? I'm down to get optimistic for the last.
Let's
15.
get optimistic.
Let's just flip this switch and get really optimistic.
I can
All
get
right,
a little optimistic. I'll give goods from the game. Like there is some silver lining here to be had for sure, and we could do it. But just the reality of the situation is it sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We could sit here for the next 3 episodes and just talk about how bad it is, because it is bad, dude, and it feels like shit. But I hope that we could find our way out. I think we can find our way out. But these layup games that we thought were layups, like I'm worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm worried about Sunday Night Football.
No, you're not. Come on. We're not losing that game.
With Tua
I would
Armstead
love
and
to
Jackson
think
back, no.
If we lose that game with Tua starting, I am done. I am officially retired for the year.
Because then we are
So
real
I'll
frauds. Then we're
probably die.
frauds. Like then we're actually frauds. With Tua Armstead and Austin Jackson?
Yeah, I'm not counting my chickens anymore, bro, boys. Every game you got to go out and win. No teams you can look past. No games you can say, oh, it's just the Jets. It's just the Steelers. There's no more justs for us anymore. We have to go out and win a football game. So, I mean, I'm taking everything as seriously as it can be taken. Steelers aren't a walkthrough. We need to go out and beat the Steelers this week, and that will start to solve our problems.
All right, we were supposed to be getting optimistic, and that was really not.
I'm sorry. We can get optimistic. Here's some
optimistic
optimism. The defense was
We're
absolutely
winning.
fantastic.
We're winning on Sunday. The defense is back. We're gonna get healthy, and we're gonna score touchdowns. We're gonna beat the Steelers, and then it's not the Lions next. Let me pull up the schedule.
It's the Lions next because I'm going.
It is?
Yeah.
That's quick. All right, let me pull it up. I should have it memorized, but I don't. I know what the next 5 are. I don't know the order. We're going to beat the Steelers. We're going to beat the Lions. We are going to beat the Bears. We're going to beat the Browns. And we're going to beat the Texans. We will win those 5 games if I'm being fully optimistic. Like, there's really no excuse for us to lose to the Steelers. Steven Ross is back. It's the revenge game, blah, 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 blah. The Lions suck. They can't stop a nosebleed. Tyreek's going to have 800 yards that game. The Bears are abysmal. They are probably the worst team. None are the Commanders. That's a win. Browns at home. That's a win. Texans at home. That's a win. Come on. 8-3. We're chilling. We're going to be healthy. That's as optimistic as I could get. After that, Niners, Chargers, we're going to get cremated in Buffalo. I think the Packers is a more winnable game now. I mean, I honestly thought we were going to win that game regardless. I have a good feeling just being home on Christmas. At the Patriots is not a free win. Like, that's not a free win. And the Jets at home. What? We're looking up to the Jets and we started 3-0.
I know.
Terrible.
Like they're not even free wins anymore. Hold on,
They're not.
$5 donation. Master at work. Being a Dolphins fan must be like going to one of those Robert Kraft massage parlors in Florida, but without the zappy ending. Flores might kill Tua. Get out of here. Appreciate the donation.
Tua's
brother.
killing Flores. No. Get out of here. Tua's going to throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he's going to stare daggers into Brian Flores' soul.
I mean, that is the optimism. Tua, Austin Jackson, Taron Armstead come back next week. That should boost the team. I mean, some other good things. Mike Gesicki had the game of the season for himself. Played a lot more snaps. Looked solid. Looked good. I thought Jalen Phillips had the best game of the season for himself. I thought Christian Wilkins looked like an absolute dog. I mean, there was some positives to take away from that game yesterday. And now, like Smoke said, we have to get on the winning train and we have to go win these next 5 games. They're not like, you can't take them for granted. You got to go out and win all of those games. Not 4-1, not 3-2 winning record. You go out and you go 5-0, and we can get this thing back on track. I can see the vision, but it needs to happen now this week. Let's blow a team out. How good would it feel to blow a team out? Because I don't know what that feels like right now.
Nope.
And that would take some weight off our shoulders big time.
You know what's gross? Like, this part of the schedule is supposed to be so easy. Beat New England week 1. You beat the Ravens week 2. You beat Buffalo week 3. And you're just like, yo, like, this team is different. Like, do you remember how good it felt being 3-0?
Yeah.
I mean, the potential and the expectations we had for this team was unbelievable. And now being 3-3, just the way that we've got to 3-3, that's the part that's like heartbreaking. You know, like if we beat the Patriots, lose to the Ravens, beat the Bills, lose to the Bengals, it's like, okay, like, you know, we're out here competing. We're, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you're going out there and you're winning those first 3 games. And then you get to the part of the schedule where it's like, we should kill the Jets, right? And then they whoop your ass. And then it's like, damn, well, we should beat the Vikings, like, and then they beat us. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, where was this 3-0 team? Like, where was the juice? Where was the sauce? Now that's where people will be like, oh, it's not the same 3-0 team because everyone's injured. And I get that. But the last 3 weeks, the Dolphins have had an opportunity to win the game in the fourth quarter, and they've turned the ball over or missed a field goal.
It's completely and utterly true. We have had opportunities to win all those games, and we haven't. Hill, Waddle haven't had a touchdown in 4 games. SMH. I wonder at times with Hill and Waddle because they're so good and they're so fast, and an open field obviously is the best part of them because you can get them in space and get to work. But when we get down to that red zone and we're not scoring touchdowns, I wonder just if having those 2 speedsters like that aren't really vertical threats gets us in trouble. Because you can't have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle running around finding space when you only have 20 yards of space if you're on the 10-yard line. So sometimes that seems like a concern. We got to figure out how to utilize. Maybe Gesicki's that red zone guy. He had 2 yesterday. He can be that red zone target. Hell, I have a question for the chat. What are we paying Cedric Wilson for on this football team?
$7 million per year.
Riddle me that, because River Craycraft.
I don't know if Cedric's worse or if Teddy's worse.
Cedric by a mile. Teddy.
Well, Cedric doesn't even get a chance to show it. So I guess by default it'd be Teddy, unless I'm just out of it. I feel like Cedric doesn't even get a chance to show out because, like Bobby just alluded to, Trent Sherfield and Scott and River Craycraft get more run than than Cedric Wilson.
It's crazy.
I think. Well, and the thing is, it's because they know the offense. We've been over that, but you did pay this guy $7 million. It'd be nice if you used him because he is a talented receiver. So that's something. Hey, and if you're not going to use him, trade him for cornerback help. I beg you, or anyone. I don't care what you trade. This too. We already talked about this earlier, Eddie. If you want to go,
but here's the thing: you get rid of it's like a Tua thing for me. What are you gonna do? Go sign some dude from fucking Publix?
Kickers are always available, though.
Yeah, but they're not always good. If you're not on a roster, you're probably not a good kicker. And this is probably the only time that we've ever been Jason Sanders blows in his career with us.
Well, last year wasn't great.
He's got the yips. He has the yips right now.
Since Matt Hack and the contract extension.
No, remember the preseason? He's back. We were all loving Jason Sanders in the preseason. We all loved him. We had no problem with him. And he showed up week 1 against the Pats. He was Mr. Special Teams. He's got the yips.
How many times have we talked about the term complementary football on this show? And the Dolphins haven't played a game of complementary football all year.
Not one.
The Ravens game, the defense plays like absolute shit. The offense bails them out. This game, the defense plays lights out. The offense can't do shit. And then the special teams goes to shit. It's always something. We can never put together 3 phases of the football game. And to me, that's another reflection back to the coach. And I hate to keep calling him out, but when you're not executing and you're not putting it all together, when all the pieces are there, it's not like you look at this team and you say, oh, there's this glaring hole in the defense. It's going to be there all year. It's not there because you see it in other games when they shine through. It's just a matter of putting it all together. If the Dolphins put together that defensive game plan with the Ravens offense, with just an average special teams, you're going out there and you're a great, great football team. But instead, we never put it together. We have no discipline. We don't win the turnover battle, and you lose football games because of it. And it's just so utterly frustrating to me because when you look at a team and you see it there, you know what it's capable of, and they just don't do it, that's what makes you pull your hair out. If this team was bad and you could just live with the fact that we don't have a great roster, we don't have a great team, we're not supposed to be winning these games, you could sleep a little easier at night. That L doesn't taste as bad. But when you know what is capable, when you execute and play at your highest level, that's what makes it hurt, and that's what makes it feel so miserable. And that's why we're so depressed today, man. It really is. 100%. I just had to say that.
100%. No, you hit the nail on the head. That sums it up better than anything I could have said. Here's my thing. I kind of want to end on a little bit of a positive note because I'm gloomy. I genuinely am gloomy. We should get a little positive here.
Let's do it.
AJ's going to play next week. Teron Armstead's going to play next week. So for the first time since week 3, Or actually, when did AJ get hurt? Week
1.
2 or
He
week
got hurt
1?
week
Yeah, it was
one,
week
yeah.
1. So for the first time since week 1, we'll have Austin Jackson, Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, and Robert Hunt. 4 out of our 5 starters, and the line was good. The line was good the first 3 weeks of the year. We didn't have a problem with it. I mean, we knew that was happening. So we'll have 4. We'll have our whole starting line. We'll have our starting line. Liam Eichenberg is a piece of actual trash on the sidewalk, but we'll have 4 quality starters playing on the offensive line. We'll have our starting quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, back on the field, and we'll have Xavier Howard back on the field. So at least, I mean, he played, but I don't know how healthy he really is, though, because he has to play now because you have no one else to put out there at cornerback.
Has to play now.
He has to play.
No option.
I mean, like this is my positive here is that the Dolphins will be the healthiest they've been since week 3.
100%. No,
I think that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. We finally are getting some of our guys back, and none more important than Uno, our starting quarterback. I mean, our team has been keeping us in there without him. I think we all know that when Tua's out there on offense, the offense is completely different. There's so much more options and schemes and plays and designs you can run. So getting him back coupled with that offensive line improving, because that's a two-headed monster right there. If Tua comes back and plays with that offensive line from yesterday, I don't know, man.
If he plays with that offensive line from yesterday, he's going on IR.
Yeah, exactly. So we're getting the two-headed monster back. The offensive line gets better, kicks right back into shape, you hope, and then Tua picks right back up where he left off. Because if you guys remember correctly, where he left off was MVP level play. So when he comes back and brings that back to this football team, there's absolutely no reason in this world why the Miami Dolphins should lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So get those guys back, dominate the Steelers, and we can get this train right back on the tracks, man.
I agree. I completely agree, because when you get Tua back, that changes the offense. I think the offense was a little bit more like reserved, which is funny. Like, I just feel like it just runs smoother and crisper, which is what Tua allows you to do. I talked about it before. He's never going to have a hose of an arm. He's never going to have the craziest arm strength where he's going to fit into crazy pockets. Yep. He'll do that with accuracy, but he won't fit it in with power. But he does all the little things right. He has all the little things correct. His footwork in the pocket is huge. He helps hide holes on the offensive line, which is huge, especially for this team, the way the offensive line is playing. So getting Tua back is going to be huge. And getting Teron Armstead back is going to be huge as well. I just think if we can start getting healthy and start reeling off the wins and get the momentum back, we'll be fine. Like you said, let's end on a positive note. Let's keep getting healthy. Let's string together some W's, and let's keep moving along. We'll develop some forward-moving momentum. We'll let that all snowball into, hopefully, some more wins against some teams which we're not as confident against. The 49ers, Chargers, Bills of the world. I'm not saying we're going to win, but having that momentum is going to be huge, because I think where we were at after being 3-0, if Tua never gets hurt, the momentum we had, we could play with anyone. We could play and we could beat anybody at that point, because of the momentum and the vibes. I know it's a terrible word in terms of like sports and analyzing sports, but that is the way we felt. Like the momentum and all that matters. So I think getting that back is going to be huge. So let's get guys healthy. Let's win some games. Let's string some of those together. Let's get back going, man. I missed the energy that we had during those first 3 weeks, and we have an opportunity because of the schedule to build that back up.
Here's the thing. Say what you want about Tua. When he plays, this team wins.
Yep.
Like we don't lose with him at quarterback.
I think he's 12-1 in his last starts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's absurd. I mean, if you count the Bengals game, it's probably like 12-2 or whatever. I'll still take that win-loss ratio all day. When he plays, we win. Period. And I am not a Tua stan. I'm not. I like the guy. I support him when he's my starting quarterback. I'm not some guy that just gives him a free pass for whatever he does, but I will give him his props. When he plays football, the Miami Dolphins win. Whether he throws for 183 yards or for 335 or 465 and 6 touchdowns, the Dolphins find a way to win. Period.
100%, dude. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. His record as a quarterback, win-wise, is great. So Tua coming back, offensive line coming back. It's been a miserable, depressing show.
Terrible.
But We'll move past it, boys. The only
We
option.
will. It's the hour mark. You guys know what that means. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys for giving us an hour of your time. You have no idea how much it means. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on. Get back here just be back here for Wednesday, 5 p.m. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everyone that donated to the channel. We love you guys so much. It's the only way this channel could grow. I want to see each and every single one of you guys back here Wednesday, 5
And wait
p.m.
for the Friday episode.
We won't be
baby.
depressed.
The Friday episode is
me
the
and Bobby.
first
Me and
ever
Bobby.
live
episode. Live episode on Friday. So shout out everyone that watched. We'll see you guys on Wednesday at 5 p.m. And as
The
always,
two jerseys coming out, baby.
Oh, it's a sad one today, boys.
Fins up, fins down.
But it's always up. It's always
Fins
up.
always up.